The video review will start in a few seconds, but as a reminder, remember if you have a question, comment, or suggestion about this video review, the link is provided on the page below. Hello again, I'm Rodney Reynolds from 3DGameMan.com and welcome to another video review. Today I'm looking at the BitFenix Shinobi XL case. Now let me do a quick unbox. As you can see, the box is nothing special. It does have pictures of the product on it though, as well as some basic features and specifications about it. Since this is a very large and pretty heavy case, what I'm going to do is open it from the bottom and then just lift the case box off. The case box also has a couple of handles, these two holes on either side of the case to make it easier to carry it. Now that I've got the bottom cut, I can just lift the box right off. And as you can see, there is quality styrofoam on either end of the case. The case itself is in a plastic bag, and they include a installation guide. This full tower case comes in a matte black color, and the paint finish itself actually is rather smooth. It feels quite nice. It is mainly steel except for some plastic parts, like for example the front panel as well as the top panel. There's also lots of mesh. Now there are a few fan options at the top. They do include though one 230mm exhaust fan, which is at the back, but you can install an optional 230mm fan to have two 230mm fans. You can choose also to have up to 3 optional 120mm fans. Here's the reset button, power button, LEDs for power as well as hard drive activity, the microphone jack and headphone jack, 4 USB 3 ports, as well as a supercharge port. Note that this supercharge port, which is the one in yellow, is not for data transfers, but for charging devices up to 2.5 amps. So you'll be able to charge devices more rapidly. You'll be able to charge devices that, require more amps for them to charge, like for example tablets and things like this, which you wouldn't be able to do if you had just a standard USB 2 port. At the front there are 5 5.25-inch drive bays as well as their logo. There's also a 230mm fan at the front, but this one intakes cool air. The left side is plain, and so is the right side panel. This is a true water cooling case in pretty much every sense. Because you've got lots of room to work, you can put a large radiator at the top. As well, there are 4 rubber ground-mounted holes for routing cables and or water cooling tubes through. Here's where the motherboard's I/O shield plate gets installed. They include one 120mm exhaust fan, but you can choose to install an optional 140mm fan if you wish. There are 9 ventilated expansion slots, and at the bottom is where a standard ATX power supply gets installed. As well, they include 4 thumb screws, 2 on each side panel. Inside there was this accessory box, and in it there are a bunch of cable ties, clips for organizing the cables, screws, motherboard standoffs, speaker, and they also include this 5.25-inch drive bay adapter. Now this is for a 2.5-inch drive, 3.5-inch drive, or a floppy drive. This actually fits in the 5.25-inch drive bay. Now this case fits mini ITX, micro ATX, ATX, as well as extra large ATX motherboards. And as you can see, there's lots of space to work on the inside. Now unfortunately the motherboard tray is not removable. However, the case is so big, it doesn't really matter a whole lot, does it? They include a large hole on the motherboard tray for the cooler's retention plate, and this is an enormous time saver. There is plenty of space behind the motherboard tray and the right side panel to organize cables. There are also these punch outs so you can organize cables and attach them to the back of the motherboard tray. As well, there's lots of rubber grommeted holes here to route cables through. There's a tool list designed for installing drives in the 5.25-inch drive bays. You can install a lot of drives in this case, up to 7 3.5-inch drives and up to 8 2.5-inch drives, but that's using the 3.5-inch drives and the 5.25-inch adapter. Now to install a drive, it's very easy. All you need to do is just push here and slide it out. mount the drive, and then slide it back in. It is very easy to do. Here's that 230 millimeter intake fan that's at the front of the case, and the other 230 millimeter fan that's at the top of the case. They use thumb screws on the expansion slot, so this will make it very easy to install or remove cards. They include 4 rubber rests for the power supply to lodge on, and you can install an optional 2 120 millimeter fans. With the hard drive cage installed, you can fit video cards that are up to 334 millimeters in length. With the hard drive cage removed, you can fit video cards that are up to 487 millimeters in length. Power supply length will vary depending upon whether you have a 120 millimeter fan installed right here. But you can fit a power supply that is up to 325 millimeters in length. And you can fit coolers that are up to 181.1 millimeters in height. At the bottom there are 4 audio-video style feet, and each one of these feet has a rubber insert. They also include 3 dust filters. This one is for the power supply's fan, and this one just slides right out. The other 2 are for the optional 120 millimeter fans that you can install. Also note the ventilation for that front 230 millimeter intake fan. I should also mention that the top panel as well as the front panel can be easily removed. Now let's have a listen to the stock cooling. If you're in the market for a full tower case and you need it to be affordable, look good, have lots of fans and you can install more, also plenty of drive bays, as well there's lots of water cooling potential with this case, plenty of room to work on the inside. I mean, it comes with cable management holes all over the place, lots of space behind the motherboard tray and the right side panel. I mean, the feature list on this just goes on and on. However, it is a steel case. Now that means it's going to be very sturdy, but it's also going to be a little on the heavy side. Overall though, this is a kick-ass product. Until next time, take care.